Well, here we are, and it's the weekend, and I had to move the Le Mans back. I got it out of Suzuki Samurai that I traded a bunch of parts for and stuff. So I have a big opening in my shop floor right now, and I have very little motivation to sand Bondo, and I think I'm going to do something else today. I think for right now, I'm going to drag this 56 in, and I'm going to at least get this quarter panel tacked on so this thing looks like a car. So I walk by this every day coming in the shop, and it is just screaming at me. So I don't know. That sounds like a better plan than sanding Bondo and dust. And like I say, it's the weekend. It's like I'm going to do what I want to do. So yeah, I think I'm going to jam this thing in the shop, and we're going to see what this quarter looks like. All right, well, it's in the shop, and kind of the way I do things is like through the week and everything. I've been working on this Le Mans and stuff, and it's like it's just something I do after hours and everything. And I try and kind of treat that like a business where it's like, pretty much 5 days a week in the evenings, I'll work on it and stuff. But it's the weekend. I am honestly sick of sanding Bondo. It's about 100 degrees out. And I don't know. This is just kind of calling me, and this kind of just seems relaxing. And I don't really feel like me working on this on a weekend is taking away from that. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get a jack. I'm going to jack this in place, get a few clamps, get the trunk kind of lined up, and I don't know. Let's see what we got here. So I'm just kind of walking around checking this thing out, and the door gaps on this car are actually in pretty good shape too. They're nice and even all the way around. It looks like the striker's in just a little bit, so I mean that could come out and get this flushed up there. But yeah, and the other side's about the same. I did kind of line up this trunk, and I could probably tighten up this front gap a little bit, but I got this side here. I got a pretty decent gap all the way along it, and then this side here, yeah, that one actually, those are nice, pretty decent gaps for what this old car is. So everything is very fine tunable. So but yeah, I might tweak this. It's kind of sitting a little bit high on that corner, but I think that's because this quarter panel is kind of overlapping and holding the trunk up right here. So I'll get it jacked into place, get this trunk gap kind of set up, and then start getting the gap along here set up. But I don't think it's going to take a whole lot to make this happen. So yeah, let's put a jack under here and see what happens. All right, so I looked, and this is all correct here, and this panel is somewhat correct. This, I guess, is where your fuel filler neck is going to go through this hump. But what I did notice, this whole panel is cut out, and there is a single screw right there. And I think it's overlapping what the existing floor is. So this all needs to slide out and get set down and probably tacked in, and that will rotate this out and give me my gap. So I think all I got to do, pull that little screw out and shove this that way a little bit, which is kind of weird because these are lining up, but I don't know. I'm going to take that screw out and just see what we end up with. Well, as soon as I cut that free, this thing just sprung right over, and I haven't even checked this trunk yet, but I'll bet you. Yeah, so now I got a big gap there, but that's just a matter of rolling this back up and getting my gap where I need it. So yeah, that's what the issue was. So we'll just kind of, this still needs to go out just a little bit. This will roll in, and I think this is going to be pretty close to being able to throw a tack or two on it. So let's do a little more adjusting. All right, I can get it pretty close, but right now, my little clamps, everything keeps falling out and everything. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this lined up as good as I can. And then this back is just a matter of twisting and tweaking. But I got to get something kind of solid mounted. This whole quarter right now, I can pretty much just lift off the car. So every time I move something, something else up here is moving. So I think for now, I'm going to sand this edge here. And I'm just going to throw a handful of tacks on it just to hold it and kind of work it around. And just kind of manipulate my trunk gap and everything, and just get it to where I got something that's holding it, because I'm here by myself, and I don't have 10 hands, so let's put a little glue on this thing. Well, that one tiny Phillips screw I took out and the bungee cord were all that held this quarter on. So I went ahead, I pulled it off. There's a bunch of pine needles in here, down in the bottom, down here. I got all that cleaned out, so hopefully I don't have a fire. Yeah, I got to get this held on here a little bit better. So I think what I'm going to do is, let's see, on this part that goes in the floor, I think I'm just going to tack a couple of tabs that this will just sit over the floor. I can put a couple self-tappers in it that'll give me my spacing I need and get this part fit. And then that'll kind of hold that. And then I can get this part, I'll get my clamps on, get this all aligned. And hopefully that'll kind of work. And then I can pull these out and kind of manipulate the back half. But yeah, this thing just, every time I move anything, clamps are falling off and it's kind of being a little bit of a pain, but we're going to make this happen. So I think that's my plan, and I'm going to get her done. As I'm doing this, I just noticed this part of the frame horn is missing. That is the other side, and that is that. So I'm going to have to fab something up for that. Yeah, we're losing a little cream on the puff. So, but anyway, I went ahead, I got some tabs on here, drilled a couple little holes in there. And I'll set this up and I can just jam some screws in and that'll kind of hold that where it needs to be. And I can get that aligned. So yeah, let's throw that up there and see how this works out. All right, so this is kind of working. I got one screw back there just kind of holding because I'm going to have to do some more adjusting. But I got this line. I'm just going to put about 3 tacks in there just to hold that. And then I can kind of roll things up into place where they need to go. But I got to have something to hold this. And this line, my paint line's lined up, my fender's lined up, where I can see that cutoff wheel started this cut. That's nice and lined up. So I'm going to go ahead and just tack a couple in there. If it don't work, I can cut them back out. But for now, that'll hold that, and these clamps aren't falling out, and things are just where they need to be. So I'm going to start with that. Right or wrong, we're doing it. All right, so I got a couple tacks across here. That's nice and solid now. Now I'm going to undo my screw inside the trunk, and we're going to try and get this trunk edge rolled around. And then this lip here is going to have to kind of come up and roll in. It looks like it's kind of rolled down, like it's been, I don't know if it got sat on something or what, but this edge is kind of pushed in. So I just got to kind of pull it up as I tack across there and get that in. But my main concern is now getting this trunk gap set. So let's mess around with that. We are getting closer. So the trunk, this is kind of up a little bit. Something's going on there. But I'm getting some gaps. So, but what's kind of weird, I don't know, I'm still a little tight in here. So yeah, it's about an 1/8 or 3/16, then gets kind of tight. So yeah, this little top corner is going to have to go out just a tiny bit. But what's kind of weird is the way this floor is. And I mean, this should kind of go back to where they torch that out and look like that. So I still think, again, this has all been welded in at one time, and if somebody didn't do that right, once you cut this stuff free and it starts going back where it wants to go, yeah, it could create problems. So I don't know, I'm not too bad. Like if I got to redo this floor to make this quarter, the floor is a floor, I don't care, but I want the car to look right and I want the gaps to be right. So I can change this around if I have to. Just because somebody else boogered it in don't mean it's right. So, and it don't mean it's right what I'm going to do, but I don't know. I know the gaps got to be where they got to be. So I'm going to tweak around a little bit more on this. I only got, again, one screw, so maybe I can kind of manipulate things around a little bit, and I don't know, we'll just keep trying to improve on it. So the more I'm looking at this pan, when they welded this is kicked over a little bit. Like there's these little body lines and they're not quite lining up. And then also I think that this is all humped up in here, because from what I see, this is more defined. These are pretty much flat. This whole thing is ramping up. So I think, again, that's pulling this quarter in where this needs to come down. And then I need to know basically the distance, you know, between here to here. I don't want this too wide, so this latch is pretty much centered. So I think I'm going to measure off something on that to like this hole, and then maybe from that screw to this hole or something, and just get a rough idea, and then try and get those two common holes in the same spot. And then I'm gonna have to figure all this out, but I may end up just cutting all this back free, let the quarter go where it needs to go, and then weld it all back in. But it looks like the way this shape is here and the way it's coming around, that's a pretty nice line there. It looks like it fills right across and is going where it needs to go. So I don't know, but I'm gonna keep messing around and dissect this puzzle. The plot thickens. So I was just underneath there, and this entire trunk has been cut out all the way. There's about a 2-inch gap all the way. This is an entire different floor. So this has all been booger welded in. There is the daylight we were seeing. That's all different trunk floor. And again, it's this car was all, looks like black. Whatever this came out of was that turquoise. We've got some crazy patch panels up here that are kind of attaching this semi-floating floor in here. This has all been welded in. So when that obviously was not a very professional job. Oh yeah, it's all, that's cut for the back where the back seat goes. And when you do that, a lot of things, again, over time, things move and get dented and mushed, and things are gonna, you know, tweak around. So I think, and again with shrinkage and all the welding that they did on this, if this pulled this quarter and rotated it weird, that means I'm probably gonna, well, yeah, I think this seam along here I need to cut and let my quarter go where it needs to go. And then, yeah, I don't know. This is going to be, as long as I can get the distance between the trunk, if I can make that right, and I mean, wherever this trunk lid goes, that should pretty much determine this distance across here. So I just need to get this corner in tune and get this seam right, and then everything should be good. But I think I am going to cut that part away and redo that and just get this gap right, and that should determine everything else. So yeah. So the can of worms we got into here, but I don't, it's not going to be a problem, but it's just dealing with some stuff from back in the day. But that's what they did. So somebody needed a trunk floor and they got one, so now I get to fix it. But I'm not going to fix it too much, I'm just going to make it work. So yeah, I'm going to shut this trunk lid again and figure out what I need to do here. All right, so this don't look right, but that's where this thing seems to be pretty happy. So the trunk, I've got a pretty decent gap now all the way around. I got something going on. I don't know if this hinge has been stretched or what, but it's a little high here, so I'm gonna tweak that a little bit. But overall, I think that's about where it needs to be. I need to push this out a little bit just to roll this a tiny bit. And I might just weld a brace or something in there just to hold that in, so I can at least get this welded in, and then I can move to that stuff there. But yeah, as I was doing this, we have, it's kind of like the Camaro, a big chunk of Bondo gonna fling out of there. So I'm wondering what's under this quarter. So yeah. But anyway, it's looking like a car now. So I think once this is all welded in there and stuff, I'm just going to take a little rattle can and try and blend the white and orange and just, I don't know, try and keep it like this for now. So I don't know what to do with that, but it probably ain't going to survive this mission. So I'm sure that chunk, it might go, if you look right there is a chunk of Bondo that came out of the Camaro. So this may go up beside it if it falls out on the floor. Anyway, I think I'm about ready to tack a few more spots and see if this will just hold its shape. So let's get her done. So I think for now, to hold this space here, I'm going to make kind of a quickie patch panel in here. There's a lot more that's going to need to be done, but I'll probably tack weld it to either this side or that side, and then I can screw it in and then get my gap where I need it, and that'll hold the shape and stuff and kind of be ready to go when I do get into doing all this. So I don't know, I may end up making this whole panel here, or I might just get a floor pan for this thing. I'm not sure, but for right now, I just want to get it all fit together. So this will be better than just a piece of flat bar or something across. And like I say, this might be as far as it goes. I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to whip up a little piece. I'm just going to fold it. I found a piece of conduit that's about the same radius as that. So I'm just going to bend it over that. Just kind of rough something out real quick. So here we go. So I've been beating and folding and just kind of fabricating a filler piece for this. So at least it'll kind of look correct. I don't know. We'll see how it fits in there. And then I went ahead and I kind of got all this edge here to where the trunk aligns pretty nice. And so I'm probably just going to screw this in for now so I can get my gap right and my trunk lid right. And until I get around to fixing all this trunk, this will just hold the gap and kind of look okay. So, but yeah, I pretty much just got to make this little lip for that, bend it down. And my bench right over there has a nice sharp edge. I'm just going across that and beating it down. And like I say, this ain't perfect, but it's just kind of a temporary thing. So, but yeah, let's finish this little panel up. So I have a sheet metal brake and it is buried behind all this. So what I'm doing is just bending over a counter. So here's my bench, and if this is all you got at home, then you can make this work. It ain't the best, ain't the prettiest, but it'll get you by. But I'm just lining up my line on there, and you can clamp it down, or for this, I'm just roughing it out quick. So I'm gonna hold it in place, and I'm gonna beat the crap out of it until it gets another bend in it, and we're just forming this little piece. So like I say, this will be in there temporarily, maybe permanent. I don't know, we'll see how it turns out. But for now, all I'm using it for is to kind of hold shape and look kind of okay. So let's beat this around. There is my temporarily permanent, possibly patch. So it's kind of rude and crude. I'm gonna put a screw in here, or actually I might weld this end, and then I'm gonna get my quarter where it needs to go and then put a screw so it holds it rolled out where it's supposed to be. So I'll probably go ahead and tack this in. It's just kind of floating in there, but where the trunk is, I mean, I worked this bottom panel here and got my gaps pretty close. Like I say, all this is gonna have to get redone later, but I'm just trying to get this quarter on. So I think it's good enough to throw some tacks on it. So let's do it. Well, for what I'm doing, I think this is pretty good. So I got all that. And there's my new piece. And I'm pretty happy with that. So I think it's a matter of starting to tack this thing back together. I'm slowly getting this thing, so I'm just doing, I'm skipping around like usual. And on this panel, where it's such a big, wide panel and everything, I'm only doing a couple welds and then I'm tapping them down with a dolly and just really, really paying attention to this. Is like, I'm kind of hoping that I can just grind this off, blend it with a little white, blend it with a little orange, and hopefully, I don't really want to do any body work on this. I kind of want to leave this car like this just for now. I don't know, we'll see what happens. But I'm trying to do this as sneakily as I can, if that's a word. So anyway, but yeah, it's just patience again. It's just do a little bit, hammer and dolly, do a little bit, hammer and dolly, and just skipping around and keeping this panel cool. But we're getting there. We're probably 3/4 of the way done welding this seam, and I've got quite a bit up here done already. So then we got to move to the inside. Well, this is all welded now, and it's feeling pretty good. Again, these welds definitely are not pretty, but it's just all polka dots. So right up here, this was a lead seam, and they cut a big old wedge out of here. So I'm going to make a new piece for that, and then this piece will be done. We'll grind her up and see what it looks like, and then move to the inside. All right, more booger welds. So I just made a little triangle here, and then I did this whole inside channel in one piece. And I'm gonna grind this thing up and see what it looks like. So hopefully we're in good shape. It feels good, so let's see what we got. Well, I'm getting this thing cleaned up. I still got a little bit of a seam left here, and I'm still kind of doing a little hammering and dollying, but I have a square here, and when I set it on my quarter, there is really no gaps. I mean, it's a little bit low in the middle, but a little more hammer and dolly, and now we're into the orange, but we can get that out. But that was just patience and kind of just making sure to keep stretching it as you go and bring it back. This seam in here, that's turning out pretty good. So we're just slowly kind of getting it roughed out, cleaned up. But yeah, this in here, I need to grind out a little more. This is lead that I got into and it blew up. So I'll get all that out and grind this up some more and stuff. But no, it's definitely coming around, and we have a solid 56. So like I said, I'm going to see if I can get some white paint. I just want to kind of blend all this in and try and make it to where it's like you could drive it around, and I don't want to do all the body work on this, so I'm already having my regrets for doing that one. But anyway, I'm going to clean this up, and we're going to rattle can some on there and see if we can kind of blend it in a little bit. Well, I think I'm prepped enough, and eventually if I ever get around to doing body work on this, I'm going to do a little bit more on here. But for now, I'm going to call this good because I'm only doing this car probably on the weekend. So this might be Project Weekend Warrior, I don't know. But anyway, I want to get this thing rattle canned up, and I'm going to probably throw some dirt on it, smear it around, just try and get it to blend in. I don't know if I got an orange that'll even remotely go to this faded orange, but I don't know. I'm going to see what I got on my shelf, and we're going to do a patina on this, I guess. And first thing I did was I did a little etch prime on here, so I'm going to let that dry. Now I'm going to go dig around for some paint. Here's what I came up with. There's a little Chevy orange, a little, I don't know what color orange. There's about a half a can of white. There's a new can of white. And a little bit of gray primer just to give it that aged kind of hazy gray color. So maybe between all this we can get something that kind of works. I don't know, but we're going to spray it on and see what it looks like. We might mess this whole thing up and paint it black. We'll see. When you're painting a car, prep is everything. So I masked this whole car off so that I could paint this white and not get anything on this beautiful orange paint. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see how this white blends in on here. So I'm going to probably do a couple layers on this and get this to where it's pretty much hidden, and then I'll just start kind of feathering it out and splattering junk on, and I don't know, we'll see what we end up with besides a mess. It's already looking way better. So right here is my weld seam, and now I can see a few of the little weld pots and little I don't know, pinholes that I need to clean up. But again, I'm just sealing it up for right now. We'll get to it later. But yeah, I'm gonna just, you can see like this at one time was a dark, almost black, and this is about one coat of white. So now that I got some brighter white on there, you can see how transparent this is. So I'm kind of letting this dry. I'm going to rub my hand all over it, maybe with a Scotch-Brite pad, dull it up. And I'm going to stand back real far and just kind of mist a little gray primer, and then do the same thing, kind of smear it around and try and darken it up. And I think this is going to be pretty well hidden for if you're just flying down the road. Nobody'd probably ever know about this until we get to the orange. And there is the white. I'm pretty happy with it. I fogged a little primer, smeared it around, threw some dirt on it, smeared it around, then I did a little gray Scotch-Brite, then a little more white, and I didn't touch anything back here, and it's kind of this blackish transparent white, and I don't know, I might have a little too much in here still. I could put a little more white and a little more dirt on it, but it blends in pretty good. Like I say, I don't think if you're going down the highway, you'd really hardly notice this compared to the rest of the patina. So I don't know. I'm going to see if I can have as good a luck on this bottom. It's going to be real hard to get an orange to fade into here, but we're going to give it a shot. I'm kind of digging this. So first thing for this orange, I'm just putting a little light coat of white to just kind of blend out that primer. And then this is a reddish orange, I don't know. So I might do a little base of some red on there just to get it. I think between this red, this is banner red or something, and maybe this orange, if I go light with that, I might be able to tone the two together and get this to blend. I think this is going to be too neon. That's bright Chevy orange, like what you'd paint your engine with. So I think these two are going to be what I try first. So that'll be a base, and this will be a toner. So that's what my manual says. So I don't know. Let's try it. Well, I don't know, on camera it looks a lot redder than it is, but I think that was definitely the right color. And then I'm going to tone it with this orange a little bit, and again, smear it around, dull it up. And I might have to fan it out a little further, but I don't know. This may actually work. We're going to find out right now. This turned out way better than I thought it would. All that blended in pretty nice. So if you go in, and there's my little bit of a seam. But yeah, going down the road, you'd never know this quarter was welded back on this car. Yeah, and just sitting in the driveway. So that was a little bit of the red. I just barely fogged some orange, and I actually did a little haze of primer to get the oxidation. Looks like I could maybe go a little bit more primer to get a little more of that white kind of haze to it. But I am calling it good. So yeah, this thing will look way better sitting in the driveway. No more bungee cord hanging down, no more slice up the side. Like, this is a car now. So this was the biggest deterrent for probably everybody that looked at this car. And I've been on all day, but we're ending the day with a quarter panel on, and it looks good. And there's no body filler yet, so I haven't done anything to fill that in or do any of that, which that'll come later or not. But I still have to address this trunk eventually, and whoever put this in did a very horrible job. So you can see this piece, how much gap it has, and this whole pan, I think they put it in small, and I think the biggest thing that they did is they pulled the quarter together to weld the pan in to get it on top of the lip that they left. And when they did, the trunk lid didn't fit. When you'd close the trunk, it was coming down and going all the way into this corner way out here. And so I don't know if this was an effort to fix that or if they just thought the car was garbage, but this should be the correct spacing. I mean, the trunk lid is going to dictate how wide this opening is. And when I close this, my gaps are good. And I mean, that's where the car needs to be. So now I got to fix the trunk floor. I got to weld a little bit on the inside of the quarter and stuff, but we're ahead of the game now. So that's all, I mean, stuff I can just hammer out next weekend or something. But that was the bulk of the project. So, I mean, this thing's, she's ready to go. So I don't know. I got one more thing I'm going to do. Well, I'm going to try before I end this video, and I'm hoping it works, but I don't know. I'm going to give it a shot real quick though. So hold on for just one more thing. Well, I was really hoping I could fit these old slotted mags and cheaters on this car. Yeah, that's just that old 60s vibe, but I wanted them to be tucked in the fender. It'd be just if that lip just came right above the wheel and went down, and I had all that rubber in underneath there. So that may be one of the next things I start looking for, is a rear end for this thing too. But I want some rubber on the back of this, and I want my slotted mags. So if you follow my channel, pretty much everything I own is on these old slots, and I love them. So yeah, this car just has to have them. And I either want it lowered, or I want it, you know, a little bit with the back a little lower, the nose just a little high, no street freak gasser, but just a aggressive looking old car. So yeah, I was hoping to have a surprise and have some cheaters on the back of this, but they do not fit. So back to the drawing board. Well, that was a fun little project for the weekend. That was a win. I don't know. When you do something like this and it just flows, I mean, you just can't beat those days. And this turned out absolutely way better than I thought it was gonna. I still have all the stuff in the trunk and everything, but now when I walk by this car, that big pain in the butt is gone. And yeah, it is what it is now. So but again, I think this is going to be like the Weekend Warrior 56, and I'm just going to mess with it as a little break from the regular mundane. And I know watching body work and Bondo and all that, it's not fun. You know, to me, this stuff and taking something that nobody had hoped for and fixing, that's what's fun, and that's what's interesting to me. It's like, if I'm watching somebody sand Bondo, I ain't watching it for very long. So I don't know. And that might be something where I just maybe I'll do shorts and stuff on the Le Mans until it's in primer and we move to the next stage, because it's just, I don't know, to me this is the stuff that is good to watch and that I enjoy personally. So anyway, thanks for bearing with me and watching. I wish these slicks were on here, but we'll see. I don't know. We're gonna figure something out to get them things in there. So anyway, yeah, thanks for the comments, subscribing, and all that. I mean, yeah, we're definitely having some fun in here, and I just like to keep things light, you know. And I may bounce around a bit, but in a way, it's for my own sake and your own sake, because yeah, some of this stuff is just tedious, and this stuff gets the old blood going. So anyway, thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.